Hello and welcome back to yet another board game channel, and we will be having yet another turn of Eldritch Horror battling Azathoth. We have solved one of three mysteries, so go team. We have a bad rumor that we need to try to solve this turn, one that if it activates, we will just instantly lose. Otherwise, everybody else, I think, is after that. We're going to just try to pick up clues until the omen track matches certain gates, so we can close those in an effort to solve our next mystery. One little mistake I made on the last turn, and I did indicate in the caption, Tony has the Book of the Dead, which says whenever a monster is defeated, gain one clue, and Rex did defeat a cultist last turn, so Tony should have gotten a clue token, which he now has. Alright, we're going to start with the action phase, and starting with our lead investigator, who is still Tony. Tony's action phase is very simple, no real choices to make. He became delayed because of the Mythos card, so all we do is stand and back up. And he's ready for action during the encounter phase, but that's all we can do at this point. So let's move over to Finn. Alright, here we have Finn on space 14. First of all, he's going to use his special action, which allows him to move once along any ship or train path, which will bring him to Rome. But then he will use just a regular move action, which will bring him to London, where we will hopefully get rid of that horrible rumor card. We'll just see how that goes, and now we will be switching back to Monterey Jack. Okay, Jack is still in Shanghai. There's a clue token there that he could hang around and get, or try to get next turn, because it didn't actually go away during his last encounter. However, I would like him a little closer to the gate in Sydney to try to deal with that when the omen track moves around to red, which is what the Sydney gate is. So I'm actually going to move him a little bit closer. There are a couple of clue tokens at spaces adjacent Sydney, so he can still work on clues. And for his second action, I think, well, he's got one focus, so I think we'll just have him grab another, because focus is at least useful. Alright, then we will be going back over to Rex. Alright, here we have Rex, who is in Arkham, but I would like him to act as some backup on the off chance that Finn cannot solve the terrible rumor. So we're going to move him for his first action over to London, and for his second act, we're going to have him use his special action, which allows him to gain assets up to a cost of less than his influence, which is still 4, so he can get anything totaling up to 3. I think maybe, yeah, we'll go ahead and pick up the Book of Spells. Item Tome. When you gain this card from the deck or reserve, gain 2 spells and discard one of them. So we'll just go grab a couple of spells and see what choices we have. But first, yes, the Book of Spells also has an effect in that when resolving spell effects, you get a +2 to lore, which is a nice little bonus there. Now we're going to choose between a banishment spell, a ritual as an action. You can test lore +2. If you pass, discard one monster, although that would not, the Windwalker would not count. Epic monsters don't count. Discard one monster on the nearest space containing a gate with toughness equal to or less than your test result, then flip the card. That could be good. Or Arcane Insight, another ritual. Choose yourself or any investigator on any space. Oh, and test lore -2. Roll one additional die for each tome possession you have. If you pass, that investigator gains one clue. Then flip this card. I think Rex is going to keep the banishment spell. While it won't affect the Windwalker, we do have a number of other monsters building up on the board. So I like the idea that that could come in handy for us. And that would conclude his second action. Oh, we'll replenish the reserve. That book is replaced with a 45 automatic. Gain +3 during combat encounters. Yeah, that would be a good thing to have too, for those monsters that we can't just instantly banish. Alright, that wraps up the actions. On to the encounter phase. Okay, Tony up in Siberia has finally been let through by the Russians who prevented him from proceeding during the Mythos phase. Last turn, and we'll get a generic wilderness encounter. The farmers do not like strangers, but you try to earn their trust. Influence. Tony's influence is just 2. And he has nothing that's going to improve that. But he did roll a 6. If you pass, they share tales from generations ago. Gain 1 treasure map, unique asset. Getting a lot of these. And 1 task, unique asset. If you fail, doesn't matter. Alright, let's have a look at those unique assets then. Alright, so first off is our treasure map. When you gain this card from the deck, place 1 random clue face up on this card, and that's where we resolve it. We would have to head over to the Amazon for this one. Pretty far away. We'll see how that goes. And the random task we got is Purifying the World. When you defeat a non-epic monster during a combat encounter, place that monster on this card. You may then flip this card. Alright, well, we'll see if Tony can manage to defeat any monsters and build up some points on that. Alright, now we'll be switching over to Finn in London. Okay, Finn is going to try to deal with these tears in reality. As an encounter, an investigator on London may search for the cause of the instability. Observation -1, so he'll be rolling 2 dice. If he passes, he mends the tear in reality, solve the rumor. Okay, we really need this to happen. Although we do have Rex's some backup just in case. Finn is at least blessed. Here we go. Aha, double success. Good. Reality is mended, at least for the time being. Thank you, Finn. Well, that's a relief. Okay, let's move over to Monterey Jack now. Alright, Jack will just be having a generic city encounter. Let's see what we get. A friendly game of cards ends with a very high-stakes hand. Oh, Jack. Test influence. What are you getting yourself into? Just getting in over his head. And he succeeded. He plays well. If you pass, you amaze everyone watching and find a new friend. Gain 1 random ally asset from the deck. Alright. Not from the reserve, but from the deck. So we'll just start searching until we run into an ally. Specifically, the Urban Guide, who doesn't want to focus. There we go. If you are on a city space, investigators on your space roll 1 additional die when resolving tests, except when encountering resolving other world encounters. Well, that makes sense because you're not really in the city at that point. All right. That's helpful. Good on Jack for impressing people with his card-playing abilities. And that just leaves us with Rex back up in London again. Alright, Rex, who went to London just in case Finn blew it. But Finn did fine, so Rex will instead hang out in London and see what he discovers. You are invited to journey down to Oxford to examine John Dee's translation of the Necronomicon. You may become delayed to spawn 2 clues. Oh, I don't know if I want anybody else delayed unnecessarily. We do have 6 clue tokens on the board right now, which is pretty good. So I think I'm actually going to pass on delaying, because we need all the actions we can get to get everything done. So, yes, Rex will kindly decline, and we will then move on to, yes, the baddies phase. We're moving into the Mythos deck. Well, here we are at the worst phase of all, the Mythos phase. And we have a green card. However, it's snowflakey, which means it's not so bad. Probably not great, but not as bad. All right, first thing, as is typical for this, we're going to move the Omen track to the blue Omen. We have one blue gate, which means Doom ticks down by 1. We're down to 10. Then we have a monster surge, and we do actually have a blue gate this time. And according to the reference card, with 4 investigators, we in fact spawn 2 monsters on that gate, so it's going to be a very crowded space. I'm not sure we can visit Tokyo anytime soon. So first of all, we get a goat spawn. Toughness of 2, there are the other stats. If you defeat this monster during a combat encounter, you may gain a Dark Pact condition to discard 1 monster from any space. And the other one is Star Spawn, which yes has a toughness of 5 and lots of negatives on rolling combat. Has a reckoning effect. We'll roll a die on a 1 or 2. Doom will advance by 1. So we'll just get a couple of stands for them. And that one. Yes, Tokyo is a terrible place to be right now. The other icon we get is spawning clues, and we do spawn 2 of those. So I'll just grab a couple at random. One will be in Sydney, and the other is going to be up in London. We have a couple of guys who can pick that up. Right, now the rest of the card. Let's get that to focus. You remember something from your earliest childhood. It was a simple rhyme someone told you to comfort you when you were afraid. Little by little the words return, and as they do you feel safe again. Perhaps those words have more meaning now. Glimmer of hope. Event. Each investigator may gain 1 focus, spend 1 focus to gain 1 clue, or spend 1 clue to gain 1 glamour spell. Alright, let's see. Let's start with Tony. Tony can potentially turn his focus into clues on his own. So let's just have him gain a free focus. Finn is going to have to go with a focus because he has nothing that he can upgrade according to the card, so he will just gain a focus, giving him 1. Jack has 2 focus and 1 clue. I think as helpful as glamours are, we kind of need clues at the moment. So yeah, as he has the focus, we might as well do that. So now he'll have 2 clues. And finally, Rex, whose luck is improving quite a bit. I think maybe I will spend 1 of his clues to get him a glamour spell. Things are going much better for Rex than when things started. Let's try to find some glamour here. Lots of rituals and incantations. Glamour. Picked up an astral travel. When you perform a travel action, you may spend 1 sanity to move 1 additional space along any path. And during reckoning, test his lore and then flip the card. Alright, we'll see if that pans out for him. And that concludes the Mythos phase. So again, we're more sort of inching towards destruction rather than hurtling headlong towards it, so that's good. We'll just have to see what future turns give us. So thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for all likes and subscriptions and comments. And we will see you next time for our next turn of Eldritch Horror as we fight Azathoth.